Hey folks, this is Kelani. With the addition of the allied races came some super special perks for leveling them up the good old fashioned way, from their starting level of 20 up to the current maximum of 110. Now obviously quite a few people tried to figure out the best way to go about this with the least amount of effort, the time-honoured path of least resistance. They wanted these shiny heritage armor sets without having to do too much work. Interestingly, the changes to level scaling opened up a few options when it came to leveling via dungeons, specifically boosting dungeons with a high level character. This isn't a new practice, but level scaling allowed you to use a single dungeon to boost your characters. You could run stockades from 20 to 60 if you really wanted to, without an experience penalty because that's how the new scaling world works. Pretty handy for those who wanted to level up quickly, but dungeon experience has just been hotfixed to remove almost any incentive to boosting your characters. Let's check out the hotfixes that just went live and how they might affect your leveling from here on out. So, just to clarify, these hotfixes are live. They aren't on PTR or alpha, they're in the live game right now. Two changes have been implemented with these hotfixes. The first is to significantly reduce the amount of experience granted to players who are running dungeons with a high level character. That's the nerf, but there's a buff to go along with it. Dungeon experience for running random dungeons of an appropriate level has been significantly increased, so it looks like the dev team frown upon boosting dungeons quite a bit, and are basically saying if you want to level via dungeons, running level appropriate dungeons via the dungeon finder will now be more worthwhile. I can see why these hotfixes have been implemented. Even though it's satisfying to level up rapidly, dungeon boosting was boring as hell. It truly was. I ended up boosting a lot of characters recently, and even with the 300% experience bonus from the old recruiter friend, it was tedious, boring, and overall it's just a drudge. I put myself through it, it's my own fault, but that was quite simply the fastest way to level. I wanted my characters at max level for a variety of reasons: order halls, playing about with characters when they have all their kit, getting ready to check out all different classes in the alpha. The list goes on. I wanted the classes at max level and didn't want to put too much effort into leveling them, so I turned to dungeon boosting. With these changes, I think dungeon boosting just became a waste of time, which to me is fantastic. I would much rather have the fastest way to level be the most engaging way to level as well. AFKing a character while stomping through dungeon after dungeon isn't the most engaging thing in the world, but running those dungeons with a level appropriate group means I have to pay attention and actually learn the class as I level. Hopefully now that it's not really worth it for the experience, people won't put themselves through such a boring experience just because they get to level faster. Now, if you're curious about how much of a nerf this is, people have been reporting quite drastic cuts to their experience gains while boosting dungeons, anywhere from half the experience they were getting before to a quarter, so it can now take you 2 to 4 times longer to level via dungeon boosting. While quite a few people will probably be infuriated by these changes, I think they're pretty healthy for the game overall, especially with the way level scaling was allowing us to super cheese by just chilling out in the stockades or rage fire chasm for an entire expansion of leveling. Thankfully, running dungeons the proper way is going to be more rewarding thanks to that experience buff. Blizzard said it was a significant increase, but I don't think it's quite the same level as the nerfs to the experience for boosting. It seems like the reward for completing a random dungeon is where the experience buff has been applied, so everything in the dungeon will award about the same, including your boss kills and completion bonus, but the random dungeon bonus is now floating around 1/3 of a level, at least around the level 25 mark, which is a decent chunk of experience. This buff has been applied to random dungeon queues from vanilla through Draenor content, so you could probably just stick to dungeons these days if you really wanted to, especially if you're a tank or healer and you're getting instant queues. I would be interested to see just how dungeon leveling and just quest leveling compare with these bonuses now, but you're probably still better off just doing the dungeons once for the quests and questing after that. I imagine it would be faster when you can complete a lot of quests in a short amount of time. Maybe vanilla will still be worth running through just dungeons, as quite a few of the vanilla questing hubs can be annoying to move around, and they often send you pretty far for the few quests they offer. That gets a bit better when you hit Outlands with all of their close-knit hubs and questing areas, and after you hit level 60 you can fly. But I digress. On my monk with a touch of rested experience and the monk 50% bonus, with full heirlooms, I was getting more than 2 levels per dungeon run, which is pretty awesome. Obviously that would decrease a bit when you end up running the same dungeon over and over because the quests are a one-time reward, but that's still pretty fast for running through level appropriate dungeons. So if you had any plans on boosting your allied races up to get that sweet heritage armor the easy peasy way, I guess your time already ran out on that plan, but at least running through dungeons regularly is actually rewarding now, so that's cool. Did you end up boosting any characters with the level scaling changes? What do you think about these nerfs and buffs? Leave all your thoughts in the comments section below. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.